Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to another day, another stream. It's Saturday, May 21st, and today I was just procrastinating. I have some downtime between classes, and I was supposed to do something procrastinating. And then I ended up just on YouTube, and I discovered this video, SAT TikToks. I watched like the first 2 or 3 minutes of it, but I realized, you know what? Might as well stream it. Might as well stream my reaction. So I stopped, and for this video, I'm just gonna quickly share my reaction to this SAT TikToks compilation video. Well, I don't even know what's gonna happen. I haven't seen the whole video yet, so I have no idea what's gonna come out. It might be really, it might be really good. It might be really bad. I have no idea. Okay, I'm just gonna react to it as it comes. So here's the video. Give me a sec. Which is kind of racy, but obviously with YouTube, we start with racy content. We love the racy content. Give us more. Here we go.
Put a finger down if when you were a junior in high school, you were and your parents told you to sign up for the SAT, but then you forgot, but you didn't want your parents getting mad at you, so then you faked signing up for the SAT and showed up at the location and everything the day of the test and made up a fake ticket. And then when College Board was and the ACT people were like, oh, you're not signed up for the test, like we don't have your name down. You accused the College Board of not having signed up for signing up for the ACT and then forgetting your spot. And then your parents went out and got really mad at the College Board because it was like the last time you could take the test before you had to apply to college. And then your parents sued College Board, but in reality you were just lying. So your parents spent thousands of dollars on a lawyer that you didn't actually need because you were just a big fat liar.
That's I'm not even gonna say anything, honestly. That's just it's just ridiculous. I'm just gonna move on. It's the kind of obviously these TikToks work because it's just silly.
Oh yeah, I got it in my purse for you right now. I brought it just for you. Because I knew you was gonna ask me for it. I don't have it with me.
I'm just bothered by how low quality the videos are. Like the resolution is so low. Who made this compilation video? But okay, yeah. I mean, it does feel awkward to be, it does suck to have a low, to not have a score you can be proud of.
The pH of the soil is too high. I believe I may die. Fuck yeah, concrete.
That's just talking about like how different families have different reactions. You know, I could say one thing about that, which is, I mean, every family is different. Every family has its own sort of unique set of traumas. And basically every family has its own set of traumas. I don't think there's any family without some sort of interesting set of traumas that can have a novel written about it. Your family too, I'm assuming, unless you're some sort of angel family. So I do think I do think in terms of the sort of tiger parenting, really intense families, you know, yes, you know, your parents love you and all that stuff. And there's those like expectations. Guys, as kids, it's hard, but you have to learn, I think, that it never, like, it doesn't start with your parents and it doesn't end with your parents. Like the world is built on people having expectations of you. Obviously, your parents are a particularly poignant version of it. But people having expectations of you and just learning to manage that. So learning to manage that as a kid and not setting them up for like not establishing a repetitive pattern of like you disappointing them being disappointed in you, and having unrealistic expectations, and you know, like just breaking that cycle, okay, sooner rather than later is going to pay off so much. You know, if you could live your whole life where only up until the age of 15, you know, you had this cycle, versus you live another whole life where up until the age of 30, you had this cycle, versus another whole life where up until age of 45, you had this cycle with your parents. You know, which one would you choose? Break it sooner. Don't break it sooner. Don't break it later. So that's not, obviously it's, you know, it's unfair to put all the onus of that on you, but all of the onus is not on you, but there are options for you. There are ways that you can act to start breaking that cycle. I don't know what that means for you and your family, because again, the uniqueness of the set of traumas of your family are going to be, it makes it impossible for me to actually give any concrete advice. But there's something I know that you can do to start breaking that pattern.
Oh, the shine of 1,000 spotlights. Oh, the stars we see you from the night sky. Never be enough.
This is too much for me, man. I used to like weird things when I was a kid too, but man, what the hell?
Heart been broke so many times, I don't know what to believe.
So this sort of like atonal music thing is like a trend apparently, huh? That must be like a Indian cultural like a coded communication that I don't understand. Like a disappointment thing. Y'all kids are so emo, man. These TikToks are so emo. That is pretty, that might be worth being emo about, though.
College Board. If you're part of the education system in the United States, you probably already know what College Board is. But for those of you who don't know what College Board is, it is a non-profit organization that prides itself into giving access to higher education. The reason why I air quoted non-profit is because just in the last year alone, they made $1.07 billion in revenue. I also can't forget that the chairman of College Board makes $750,000 a year. How does a non-profit make this much money, you ask? Well, one reason might be because they charge $94 for each AP exam, or because it costs a whopping $49.50 to take the SAT, or $64.50 if you want to do it with the essay. So for a test that costs that much money, it must be a great test, right? Unfortunately, no. For example, the AP exam gives a score of 1 through 5 with little to no feedback for the...
So before we keep going into the scoring situation, because I'm not sure I follow the logic. I think the logic is it's a nonprofit, so it shouldn't make money, which if you understand that nonprofits can make money. So that's not, what's it? This is not an area that I have a lot of expertise on, because I don't think about nonprofits that much. But nonprofits can make money. If they don't make money, then they have to spend their time fundraising. So if the logic is nonprofits shouldn't make money, I think you would actually be kind of eliminating or just eradicating a whole swath of nonprofits. I think that's just sort of like a false position to even start with. Now, if we're upset about someone making $750,000 per year, that's just overly that potato is way too hot for me. I'm not going to hold that potato. So I'm because I think there's a lot of things that can be said about that. But then if the logic is you're charging too much for students who are going through something that is a necessary it feels like a necessary step, on the way to college, and you're charging too much. I think that's fair. I don't know, because I don't know what it's like nowadays in 2022. I know that the SAT still comps. It should, right? No one has to pay for taking the PSATs, and no one has to pay, I assume, for taking the school day SATs, except maybe the school districts have to pay, and then there might be some, kind of gross incestuous economic transactional relationship between the College Board and like the school districts and like the government and whatnot. I don't know. I assume it's actually really gross and dirty, and I don't really want to look into it. And it's just like a lot of like people, like a lot of money exchanging hands that kind of on paper. That's like a little, I can imagine it being a little suspicious, but I don't want to, I also don't want to like point the finger. I also don't want to point the finger when I don't know anything about it. So I assume no one pays. Hey, Daniel, what's up? I assume no one pays for the school day SATs and no one pays for the PSATs, right? So you guys do have that. I don't, and I know that there's fee waivers for kids who fall under a certain limit, and I know that this sort of disadvantages people from families who are like at like like 150K to like 300K USD per year annually. You know those. I know it disadvantages some of those kids relative to other kids, right? I know it looks like it's like a sort of not a very fair deal, but just I don't know, just for perspective. Like, yeah, I know so many Korean kids who are paying like somewhere in, like at least 10,000 per year, if not 30,000 per year for their education, so that they can get into an American university. And in the scope of things, if you can afford like $300 per year to pay for some exams that are well made, then I don't know. I don't know if that's really, it's, I can't speak for every single family. Some families, it's like way too expensive for them. But there are fee waivers, and my family, we were not very rich. We were actually very poor. So I used every fee waiver that existed. I mean, there was not a single fee waiver I've never used because we fell under that line. So I don't really, I don't know. I don't really like the sort of angle of like, look at them making money, right? Like, I mean, come on, like. Work, like, well, not work. I don't want to say work. That makes it sound like you have to work. No, you don't have to work. You don't have to go to college. You don't. You don't have to do anything. You can just chill. I mean, and you don't have to study. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to. It's just, but why shouldn't it cost some money to roll out high quality tests to the nation and to the world, and try to prevent some cheating? And why shouldn't it cost some money to do that? Like, it's kind of insane. Someone should pay. Now, I guess one policy approach is you should say the government should pay. See, I think that'd be an interesting argument that you could make, and it wouldn't sound as whiny to me. But this seems a little whiny. Like, it just seems like, if you're making a constructive argument, the government should pay for this. Okay, that's interesting. If you're just saying no one should be compensated whatsoever for all the labor of creating these tests, for distributing these tests, administrating these tests, checking the tests. If you're just saying that, I think that sounds crazy to me. All right, let's look at the scoring situation.
Student. Tell me, College Board, how does the student understand what they did wrong by the numbers 1 through 5? Be better and understand that profits don't matter as much as the students.
This is how I studied for that.
What? I didn't even understand that.
Tell me, College Board, how does the student understand what they did wrong by the numbers 1 through?
That's true. The student will never understand what they did wrong with their score of 1 through 5. That's true. That said, it is an assessment. It's not feedback. It's not trying to tell you how to be a better student. It's the whole purpose of it is to just let you know where you stand in terms of academic competence and preparedness for the level of college course, the level of courses you're going to be taking at the college. So if you wanted feedback, I think feedback is it's much more useful, by the way. Feedback is way more useful because you can actually use it to grow. That's true. If you want feedback though, it's going to be more expensive because now someone has to go and give you feedback. That's like even more work. And then if you already think it's too expensive, then are you willing to pay more for feedback? That is more labor. No, it doesn't come out of thin air. And maybe we can live in a world where no one gets paid for anything, but everyone's still happy and affluent and have all their needs met. Maybe we could live in that world, but that's not the current world that we do live in. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Like I feel kids. I feel you kids. You know what I mean? I feel you kids when you struggle, and the College Board feels like this sort of in-person, and the customer service is not usually great. So whenever you do call, it's like this awkward. Your impressions of the College Board must not be great, and I understand that, but the world isn't. The world doesn't work that way. You know what I mean? These are high quality tests. Yeah. So You just paid $16 for the QAS. I don't understand if they have what you have wrong. Yeah, that's valid, Daniel. That's an interesting argument. Why don't they just, because it's just pixels, not pixels. It's just bits and bytes, right? They could just give it to you. That actually kind of gets at what is a nonprofit, and what's really the mission of the College Board. Yeah, I think there could be some valid criticisms there. I'm not a College Board stand by any means. I mean, I don't know if you guys have heard me complain about specific policies of the College Board that I think are anti-educational. So I do have my criticisms of the College Board. I'm just against this idea that nonprofits have to only rely on fundraising for basically that's what that means. If you say that the College Board should not make any money whatsoever, then that means they have to only rely on fundraising to finance their operations, and that would be extremely inefficient, and they would probably go extinct. It would not work. So I do think, or the government could just finance it, which is a whole different argument. But the $16 thing with the QAS, that is kind of, you know what? I think I agree with that. I think every test should be released and every kid should get their QAS. I think that would be better. That'd be way better. I don't know why they wouldn't. They already have the data. You know what? Yo, Daniel, you persuaded me. That definitely needs to happen. That needs to happen. College Board should just release every test and they should just give the QAS to every kid. Doesn't matter if they have $16 or not. Just give it to them. Because you know what? You don't get the QAS for fee waivers, if I remember correctly. If you're like a poor kid and you want to take the SAT 2-3 times, and $16 feels like a lot to you because your parents are not, your parents don't even want to afford you a second pair of shoes. By the way, I lived that life because these shoes cost like $30, $40, $50. Now they're more expensive than they used to be back in the day. Like $16 for me, by the time I'm like a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, I'm not even going to ask my parents for $16 for the QAS. I'm just going to be like, oh, whatever, man. It's just like it's like a luxury. No, College Board, you definitely should just give it to everybody. That makes no sense. Daniel is totally right. I've just been enlightened by the new end. All right. So anyway, I think that's valid criticism.
5. Be better and understand that profits don't matter as much as the students.
This is how I studied for the SAT. So before I began, I took an official SAT practice exam just to see where I stood and what areas I needed to improve.
I'm automatically I'm not going to say triggered, but I'm already feeling tense. Here's why. I was one of these kids. I was one of the kids where I got a really, really like a score that people would be envious to have, right? And I barely studied for it, okay? And I kind of know that this angle is going to be about not really studying for it, just like, oh, it's easy, just do this and this and that. But the thing is, it's easy for certain people because you've been putting in the work since you were 11, And there's some kids at the age of 11, when they receive like a literature packet, right? And then they have these questions and answers and their vocabulary, they actually do the effort of actually learning these words and they absorb it and they think about it, right? And they're thinking about it. And that takes literally only maybe 3 or 4 or 5 more minutes compared to other students, right? So other students might be finishing that. They might be like kind of bullshitting the easy homework that only takes, 15 minutes in the first place. But this kid is taking 20 minutes, right? Just thinking about it a little bit more. Just that extra 5 minutes. But you've been doing that since the age of 11, and then 12, and then 13, and then 14, and then 16, right? And by the time you're 17, you're taking the SAT, that counts. That makes a effing big difference, And I was like that. I thought about these things. So by the time I was 17, I don't even need to memorize any math formulas. I just know how they all work. In my head, I can imagine the graphs immediately, Like I just see the formula. I can imagine the graph. I already know where the x-intercepts are. I already know where the y-intercepts are because I can just imagine it because I was putting all the work in when I was in 7th grade and 8th grade, taking my algebra classes or whatever, right? So I'm already a little, I'm like tensing up right now.
This is what I got. From there, I drilled Khan Academy reading, writing, and math sections every day, and I mean every day. I did over 1,000 practice problems. I use Taunt specifically because they have a...
Interesting. She didn't go the way that I thought she was going to go. Now I'm looking at the chat right now. Yeah, the SAS is even worse. So QAS is question and answer service, whereas SAS is student answer service. Yeah, I have a whole rant about it, but they definitely should just release every test. And if they can't make that many tests, then they should just make that many tests, or reduce the number of administrations per year and just release every single test. Because otherwise, that way you can avoid all the cheating issues. Okay, not all cheating issues. There are some very extreme cheating issues that you cannot avoid just by releasing all tests. But you can probably cut out 90% of all cheating. I mean, I don't have any numbers, but this is just like a gut feeling. You can probably cut out like 90% of all cheating if you just release all tests. Yeah, they reuse the tests. Just then now you no longer have to reuse the tests because you're releasing all of them. By the way, the LSAC, okay, who administer, so not College Board, but like other tests, like there are other test administrators, they release every test, right? And so that means there's no such thing as like, oh, where's the QAS? Like there's like not like the Princeton review and the Barron's and the whatevers of the world, right? Of trying to like sell all these really low quality questions to you guys. That barely exists when you're studying for the LSAT. You know why? Because the LSAT, okay, which is a school that you have to take for the law school to get into law school, no one is using Princeton review questions. You know why? Because there's been dozens of years. Many years, decades of years of real LSAT tests that have been coming out that are just out there, and they cost a little bit of money, but not a lot. And so, why would you use like secondary material when you can just get when you can get the high quality stuff? And it's not even intuitive. All the kids right now, when they're trying to study for the College Board, they go through these like kind of crappier materials, and then there's Khan Academy, which is better now because that's actually College Board, but still, it's only a couple tests, right? Come on, just the QAS should be just given to everybody. Like, come on, why go through this sort of stupid like obfuscation of hindering people from studying for the thing, Just let them, if they want to study, let them study. Don't let them get misguided and spend money on like lower quality materials. It makes no sense. So College Board, release all tests, please. Just release all of them. If you can't produce that many tests per year, then reduce the number of administrations, tighten up the security, and then just release them all. Don't reuse any of them. You already do the sampling. You can do some focus group interviews and whatever. And you can do some testing. You can do beta testing basically, and then just release them all. You don't need to reuse them. That makes no sense whatsoever. And then explanations, Daniel. By the way, with the explanations, I would say should the QAS give explanations? I don't know if that's really on to the College Board. I think that'd be nice, though. That would be nice. I think it would be really good educationally. If the College Board just put a little bit more elbow grease, put the answer explanations, that would actually not only help colleges understand your abilities, but that would also help students understand, hey, this is what I'm bad at. So it would have a huge educational impact. I don't know if that's really their purpose, but if they did do it, I think it would have a really big impact, and I think that'd be really good. Now it's just hard for me to argue that they should do it, but I think it would be really great. Yeah, so the QAS. Do I suggest the black book? What is the black book? Are you talking about the blue book? Black book, SAT. I'm looking it up right now. Oh, this must be a, hey, guys, if you've been watching my stream recently, you would know, I used to be a SAT teacher from up until 2015. Then from 2016 to 2021, hang on, I'm trying to remember now. Yeah, to the end of 2016. So all of 2016 to 2020, I was a product manager at a tech company, at multiple tech companies, but I was a product manager in tech, and I came back to SAT last year, so I haven't been caught up on the sort of new books, because in my experience, the books are pretty bad. So it's lower priority for me. I'm going to eventually look at the books. I'm going to probably, do like YouTube reviews of books and whatnot, so that you guys at least can make a good decision. If you go through all the Khan Academy stuff, then afterwards, and then if you go through all the QAS, then where you're supposed to go after that, then I'll probably do some book reviews in the future. Probably not this year though. Maybe next year. But right now, I'm not looking at the books, so I have no idea. What to recommend in terms of the Black Book or whatnot. I mean, it could be good. I'm looking at the description right now. It looks like pretty thorough, but I have no idea. Yeah. So I will not comment on any particular books until I actually give until I'm ready to actually do like a real thorough review of these books one by one. Procrastinators, use it. Okay, well, yeah. So for recommendations, you should just go to Amazon, look at the reviews there. Go to Reddit, look at the reviews there. All right, keeping going. Let's go.
Partnership with College Board. That means their practice material is written exactly like the real test. For me, Khan Academy helped a lot with reading, but I still had a lot of room for improvement in math. I searched the whole internet before finding this book on Amazon, which had glowing recommendations for students who wanted to score an 800 on SAT math. I did every exercise in this book twice over the summer. And it did for me what no other SAT prep book or...
Hey, one thing about that, doing it twice, is I don't know if necessarily doing it twice by itself is meaningful, but reviewing something that you think you know and double checking and finding out you actually don't, that's such a good teachable moment. Okay, you should give yourself that kind of teachable moment as much and as frequently as possible. Okay, you think you know, but maybe you were just lucky. Maybe the stars aligned. Maybe your neurons fired off in like the right sequence that day, but it was a very frail sequence. It was a very fragile sequence, and it's not going to fire off again the next time. Go back. Okay, anything that you might not be 100% confident on, go back and review it, and figure out why. Even if you got it right, figure out why. Really, why it was the right answer. Because if you don't know 100%, then there's still a chance you're gonna get it wrong.
Tutor could. This book is my secret to a near-perfect SAT math score, and I've partnered with the author Mike McLenithan to share. Oh,
I see. This is an ad. Okay, I was not expecting this to be an ad. Well, dude, I was so taken by. Well, I mean, it's a good ad. I mean, I kind of believe that, but I'm just so. Oh my god, I was shocked. It just came out of nowhere. Okay.
Share the online guide with you guys for 40% off.
Oh, hey, good on you though. Good on you. Good on that hustle.
To the exclusive strategies listed in the physical copy. I've got the links to the online math guide and the physical copy in my bio. Happy studying.
Yo, that ad just threw me off so hard. What is the purpose of the very last section? So, see, that's the College Board using that to test out questions, like generally a little bit harder questions, to see if it makes any sense, right? For example, let's say I do that experimental section, and let's say that there's 100 students who got an 800 on the first 4 sections, okay? Or 1,600 on the first 4 sections. And these 100 students, right, are really smart because they got 1,600s, right? But on the experimental section, on question 13, 50% of them got it wrong. Then the the College Board would be like, oh, maybe we wrote question 13 in a confusing way where all these 1,600 scorers are confused on question 13. Maybe we should go and fix it, right? So that's basically the purpose, I assume, okay? Now, this is just from my experience working in companies, kind of running my own teams and doing kind of similar testing on products that are not test related, just different products. From my experience, working in business, that would be my informed guess on why they're doing that, okay? So that they can improve the quality of their questions before they really use it on the scored sections, okay? So that's just my guess. I'm pretty confident that's basically the reason, but maybe, there's a small chance I'm wrong because I don't actually know.
SATs on Saturday, so here are some of my tips.
From a dumbass. Love you, Esteban. This is pretty funny.
Get a tutor. Here's mine. Get the SAT book. Or use Khan Academy. When you read the passages, make sure to pay attention, and if you space out, start over.
If you space out, start over. That's better than just spacing out. That is better than just spacing out, but I don't agree with that. If you space out, stop right there. And now this is really hard, and this is actually why this is usually like, it's kind of like when you're doing squats and your squats like kind of plateau, like, you know, you've been doing like 90 kilograms or whatever. I'm going to say kilograms because I've been in Korea, but you've been doing 90 kilograms, you've been stuck there, and, you know, you've been trying to change up your technique, but you're still stuck there, right? And, you know, it's really, at that point, it's really helpful to have someone else actually watch you and like tell you what's happening, right? So this is really hard for you to do on your own for most students, okay? I bet 1% of you guys can do this on your own, and it might be really hard for you guys to do this. The other 99% of you guys will find it really hard to do what I'm about to say. But here would be my recommendation, okay? If you're zoning out, if you're spacing out, stop right there. Identify exactly what you were thinking and the thread that led you there. Then ask yourself, what do I not know that I want to know, that I'm getting lost on? And then go slowly back up a little bit and find the answer to that question, okay? This is actually a lot harder to do than you would think. But that would be what you should do, okay? Just like if you're coming on a squat, if you're coming down on a squat, and your tailbone starts, you start kind of like what's the word for that? I actually forgot the word for that. But when you sort of like tuck your butt in, okay, you're gonna start losing a lot of the upward the force that you can use from the quads and glutes. Okay, you're gonna lose a lot of the energy that you can that you can use. But you will not know, because it's hard to know what you're doing with your hip. So learn to know, like just like how squatters have to learn to listen to their body, you have to learn to listen to your mind, okay? Not easy, but you gotta do it. That's the only way you're gonna genuinely get better at reading. You can't get better at reading. You can't get better at squatting just by resetting. You can't get better at reading just by resetting. Okay, so that said, at least if you know you're spacing out, that's a good thing. Okay, a lot of kids space out and they don't even know, and that's why they read these passages in like 3 minutes. They read, quote unquote, the passage in like 3 minutes, and then now they're just doing in process of elimination hell. You know what I mean? Because you didn't even freaking understand the passage. So yeah, it's better to at least know that you're spacing out, but I would say that's only partially good advice. When you took your first test 2 weeks ago, you were completely shocked that there was it's not graded though, so next time you can just chill out if you want, or you can just do it for shits and giggles. You can just solve them. But I also, like, by the time I'm at the 5th section, I'm like exhausted and I don't really want to do it. But it's like, what else am I gonna do? So I just like go through it slowly and I think about it, and I'm like, la 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 la, let's solve some math problems. And I don't even finish it usually. I just like let myself kind of chill on them, zone out, whatever.
Pay attention to the graphs and their keys. For dual passages, read passage 1 first, answer passage 1's question.
Disagree.
And then passage 2, and then answer passage 2.
Disagree.
These questions and then compare and contrast. For grammar, choose the most straightforward answer, not the wordy one that you think sounds smart. Do practice tests on the math.
I mean, that's really good advice because it sounds so obvious. Obviously, when you actually look at the actual questions, though, sometimes it's not that simple.
Fortunately, because the math portion is literally the same every time, just with different numbers. Also, make sure to read the directions because of stuff like this, the 5x plus 5y, they try to trick you.
Reading the questions, by the way, is basically 30% of your score. Reading the actual question stems and understanding it is like if you have a really bad habit of just assuming you know what the question is asking, you could jump your score by like 100 just by taking some time to read the question stems.
So pay attention. Don't worry about the essay. Colleges don't really care about it.
That no longer exists.
You don't need a fancy.
Let's see. You're so happy you won't be taking the SAT in 24. Yeah, focus on. I also am legit confused. Like I legit would not know how I would do on a computer. Now I am going to take the SAT when it comes out on next year in that format. But I do not like not being able. I've seen some of these annotation tools that they give you. These like highlighters that they give you to use in the test. They're garbage, man. And these people, they do not have HCI background, human computer interface background. They're not designing very good experiences from what I've seen so far. I hope that the College Board hires some I hope there's some good people who are really good at designing interfaces that can make it feel like a natural thought process rather than like this sort of artificial, clunky tool that you're just barely making it through, right? I hope they can do that, but I don't know, man. Those are handicaps from what I can tell. Now, on the flip side, the one thing to be positive about is that they're going to be having smarter tests where they respond to your actual to your level, right? So that if you're getting a bunch of questions in a row. Presumably, this is just a guess, but if you're getting a bunch of easy questions in a row, they're going to progressively just skip to the harder questions so that you can have a shorter test. I think that's pretty dope. For reading, I think that'd be kind of, I don't know how, that sounds a little hard to do on reading, but you know what, I'm looking forward to it. I'm kind of curious what they do with it.
Like graphing calculator, just bring what you're comfortable with. I like this one because it does fractions. Or bring 2, like I did. If you have time, make sure to check.
Or bring 0, or bring 0.
Your answers. And come on time and bring coffee.
Coffee is not for everyone.
How about this? Blank eating all the hot tamales. There versus there versus there.
Oop, it's there, as in they are, because there has the word here in it, so it's for locations, and there has the word heir in it, like someone who inherits something and then they own it. So it's possessive.
Well done, Doreen.
That's really cute. I like it.
Hey guys, so SAT scores came out and
Wait, how come everyone has a green screen, man? What's up with this? Do I need a green screen? Like, I love my background, but am I inting right now? Am I TikTok inting?
I got 110, and I was...
Wait, that green screen's a little whack though. that hand came straight out of the 5th dimension from Interstellar.
Super proud, but I just wanted to know like where the 10 points of extra credit came from. I didn't know that there was extra credit on the SAT, so I'm not complaining, but like, where'd I get the extra credit? So, someone comment and let me know or something like. Yo, Hybrid, here we go.
This is such a troll video. I'm not gonna dignify it with a response.
Jimmy Turner, my name is
This music is too much for me. I'm too old for this. I'm a millennial. Dude, what? That music just scattered all my brainwaves. Dude. That was like an EMP grenade for my brain. I cannot understand what the hell was going on. I'm not gonna go back to that one. I don't understand. I didn't know Will Smith got into MIT. Is that a thing? Oh, TikTok has a feature? Okay, guys. Yeah, you can tell I'm totally a millennial. I have been slowly circling the TikToks. You know, I have my spear out and I'm sort of like prodding it. I have like literally an account that I never open it. I guess I gotta at some point after I get through all my sort of long form streams, I'll probably go on to TikTok to do my sort of short responses at some point. Well, how come my spacebar doesn't work? Spacebar, go.
Laugh out loud.
I cannot read it. Hang on. Dude, what the? My internet is good. YouTube, what are you doing? That's why it was blurry this whole time. Oh my God, I'm sorry guys. My YouTube's being silly. I was like, why is everything so blurry? This whole. Oh, okay, it wasn't the uploader's fault. It was my fault. Oh, I'm sorry, uploader. Me ending college essays about my horrible childhood and mentally abusive parents, and adding lol to the end so they don't think to call cops on my ass. CPS on my ass. CPS? Child Protection Services? Child Protection Services. I think that's what that is. I was thinking Chicago Public Schools, okay? And then I think it's Child Protection Services. Yeah, this is dark, but if I was saying this earlier, every family has its own set of traumas. Some families are objectively worse. They are objectively worse. And if you can keep yourself energetic, if you can keep yourself motivated, more power to you.
Beyond, hey, I'm beyond all that fuck shit. Hey.
Teens in 1898. Okay, sure.
I'm a different breed. I'm a different culture. I'm a different man. I'm a different everything. You ain't built like me. You ain't built for me. You ain't built all like me.
So that was just a guy bragging, huh?
Listen, I'm not the smartest person, but the SAT is not that hard to master. Step 1, eat a good breakfast. Like it sounds...
That's not necessarily true. If you don't normally eat a breakfast, do not suddenly eat breakfast that day. You will screw your biological rhythms will be fucked that day. You're gonna be so confused, and you're gonna struggle probably through all of the reading section because now your body is like processing food that it's not used to having at that hour. That literally happened to me on my AP Lang when I was a junior in high school, because I heard advice just like this, eat a proper breakfast. And AP Lang was the one that I was the most stressed out about because I thought it was the hardest at the time. Now, just for background, I took 13 AP tests and I got 5 on 10 of them. So the AP Lang is one of the ones I got a 4 on, and maybe it's because I was not able to focus for the first hour. I had this orange juice in my body. I had like milk coming out of my ears. I had like this toast and the cereal that I also ate. And oh my God. And I think I had syrup did I have syrup and pancakes? I had like this heaviest breakfast ever. It was too much. I never ate breakfast that whole year, and I ate breakfast that one day. It screwed me. So no, do not eat breakfast if you do not normally eat breakfast. Just do what you normally do. Okay, do what you normally do. If you don't normally wake up that early, wake up extra early so that your body can at least have some time to get adjusted and to become more alert. Okay, don't do anything special though. And ideally, at least the weekend before, the Saturday before, try to wake up at that time on the Saturday before so that you just know what it feels like on your body. Okay, now, but you don't have to do it. If you don't do it, it's not the biggest. You're young. Okay, your bodies are not unresponsive like mine. Mine's all like creaking and shit. But you guys, you'll be fine. But if you want to do a little bit of, if you want to do a little good for yourself, wake up at the same time that you would the week before and just kind of learn how it feels. Maybe even sit down for a practice test. You don't have to do the full practice test, but just do it for from 8:30 to 9:30. Do like one section and just feel the feelings and just note, just take mental note of how it feels different compared to when you take a practice test at like 3 p.m. Okay, that's all I would say about that. Do not necessarily eat breakfast.
It's so cliche, but it really does make a big difference.
Although this guy, he looks like an athlete, like he does eat breakfast every day, and good on him.
Step 2, sit next to an Asian person. Bonus points if they have that little rolly backpack. Step 3, quick eye movements, because too much head movement kind of gives it away.
Okay, that was actually kind of a joke. Okay, that's kind of funny. That was probably the funniest joke, I think, out of the whole series, at least to me. What is this? What am I watching right now? What the hell was that? College Panda, I heard, is pretty popular. Yeah.
I'm Holly. I'm Nora.
It's funny because I mostly teach, professionally I teach Korean students in Korea. So for almost all of them, it's the other way around, where their math is like always 800, but then their reading is like sometimes down to like 650. Or their verbal, I mean. So it's just unusual to see for me to see it the other way around. You do not want to send it, and like the stereotype about Asians doing well. I don't know if that's a good thing. Does that stereotype help us? I have no idea. Anyway, that was me watching the TikToks. I mean, high school is making jokes. You know what? I'm not really your audience, so I'm not going to comment on the jokes. But in terms of the SAT tips, guys, be wary of overly general tips that sound nice, okay, in your ear, but like when you try to imagine actually using it, like not knowing how to use it, okay? It's very easy to say slick things like choose the most straightforward answer. Like it's really easy to say that, It's much harder to determine what a straightforward answer is because sometimes, for example, comparison questions, if you choose the most straightforward answer, you almost certainly will get it wrong. Have you thought of that? No one's saying that. They're just saying these very easy tips because they make it onto TikTok because it feels seductive, Like it feels right. Oh, the most straightforward answer. I can do that. I'm a dumbass. I can do it. And then you do it, and turns out you're a dumbass because you got it wrong, right? Like it feels so right to say these things, but until you can convert the idea into a concrete action, okay, that you can actually visualize, you can turn it into something that translates to something on the paper, and that thing that translates on the paper gives you more confidence rather than lower confidence, higher confidence rather than lower confidence. Until you can do that, it's not a real lesson. It's not a real tip. It's a tip, but it's not a real lesson, right? Not like, be wary of tips, okay? People will always like make things sound so simple, okay? But until you actually apply it, who knows? So that's that. Like breakfast too. Like, yeah, everyone around, like in America at least, everyone's like, yeah, breakfast is the way to start the day. Yeah, sure, breakfast is the way to start the day. Breakfast is the day. Yeah, whatever, man. I mean, yes, but Korean kids don't eat breakfast and they're fucking killing on international scores. Like, come on. I don't know if do the Singaporeans eat hella breakfast? I don't think they do. Although I think they're better than Koreans. Koreans are pretty bad at breakfast. But like, come on. Like, is breakfast the thing that you're gonna have? Although that guy was actually just making a joke. So maybe I shouldn't rail on that. But it is common advice, to just have that breakfast. Again, advice without a context, without like a practice range where you can actually test, you can shoot that advice, you can aim that advice, you can knock out some, I forgot what those are called, man. I'm so bad at English now. You can like knock out, not discs. When you shoot those discs that fly in the air with a gun, what do you call them? I forgot. Skeets? What are they called? Skeets? Dude, I completely forgot. Anyway, I've been living in Korea for way too long. When you shoot these discs, right? You have to actually use it. That's the main thing. All right, that's it for me today. I just want to procrastinate on some other things that I'm supposed to do. Now I have successfully procrastinated, and now I'm probably gonna go play video games. All right, later, guys. Peace.